because Priya, I think, will be joining us online, although she's not yet online. So Maria?
Nealand here.
Alan?
Present.
Larry?
Present.
Mac?
Present.
And Mary present, as well as Chief Kivlin and Mike Johns. All right. So I'm going to move us to public input. If there's anyone in the room, they should come to the mic, and anyone online, you can raise your virtual hand. Becky.
Thanks, Mary. I was at a coffee today, and something came up, and I just want to clarify here because I actually think the chief had a really good response, but it was like, I think people think that Stowe Road, like, thank gosh we're not going to Stowe Road. We don't have to do anything else. We can just sit back and, like, you know, stay at home. They need to come to town meeting to vote for 984, right? Because if we don't pass 984, we don't know that the landowner is going to wait for us for like 6 months or another year. And so 72 might be back on the table if we don't pass it. Am I correct?
You are correct about that. We have an agreement with the landowner that's contingent on the votes in March and no agreement beyond then. And so they could look to put it on the market. That's actually, Sarah wrote up what we've heard over the last few weeks, and there's a comment on that in this, which I will be reading.
I just want people to understand they really have to come to town meeting and the ballot and vote for, like, to buy the piece of property. Otherwise,
Correct.
we're in trouble.
Otherwise, the 72 Stowe Road is the next best
Yes.
option so far.
The chief basically said, we're separated from 72 Stowe Road. We're not divorced yet. So I like that. I thought that was a good way of putting it.
The person that used the term, we're divorced from.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's more of a separation right now.
Very good, yes. All right, thank you, Becky. Is there anyone online?
There is not.
Okay.
Oh, wait, Cindy's just coming in, so stand by. Let me admit her and see. Okay. All right, Cindy's in. Cindy, we're in the middle of public participation. We're about to end it. If you have anything that you want to comment on, can you raise your hand?
Yeah, I'm all set, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, so before we move off public input, Sarah did do a summary of what we've heard over the last few weeks. It is a page and a half because we had the forum, so we've been in touch with the public a lot. We had Winterfest. So the first comment is the Fire Station Building Committee remains steadfast in its commitment to fiscal responsibility while ensuring the operational requirements of the fire department are prioritized. We appreciate the proposals submitted by the listening group, which complement the items developed by our architect and OPM for value engineering. Regarding the timeline for value engineering, the committee maintains that this analysis must occur during the design development phase, not the concept phase, as proposed by some community members. The project will proceed through 4 distinct phases: concept, which is complete, schematic design, design development, and construction documentation. This comprehensive design process spans approximately 1 year, during which opportunities will be provided for community engagement and input on design elements. Regarding the concern that the Rockland building costs do not align with the conceptual estimate for the Boxborough Fire Station, it's imperative to note that the 2 projects are different. Different comparisons are not accurate due to, direct comparisons are not accurate due to significant disparities in site conditions, design specifications, and community infrastructure requirements, such as Rockland's reliance on a public water supply. Furthermore, the figures for the Rockland project, although approved by the voters, have not been out to bid by contractors yet, and the facility has not yet been constructed. Additionally, Rockland already owned the property, is not demolishing buildings on the property, so some costs are not comparable. Our goal at FSBC will be to work with the architect and OPM to design a building that meets the operational needs of the fire department and is the most cost efficient for taxpayers. We also heard a question about what happens if the article fails at town meeting. Because the election has been posted, the election will happen and the town will have a chance to vote at the polls. We will then bring an article to a future town meeting within a year, and if approved then and at the earlier poll election, the project would move forward. The order of town meeting and debt exclusion vote at the polls does not matter. If this vote does not pass, there was a concern expressed that there will be a greater need for temporary facilities, trailers for living quarters, for the firefighters at their current location while they wait for a new facility. The cost to the town of the temporary facilities would be a facility cost that cannot be recouped. A question was also raised about what happens if the land purchase does not pass at special town meeting on March 9th or does not pass at the polls. How long will the property at 984 Mass Ave be available to the town? The FSBC noted that the current agreement with the owner of 984 Mass Ave is contingent on the outcome of the votes in March. We do not know if 984 Mass Ave would remain available to the town after March if the vote does not pass. In that event, the FSBC would look to the other properties reviewed, of which 72 Stowe Road was the next best option. Another community member brought up a question about regionalizing the fire department. Both the town administrator and the fire chief were able to speak to this. Regionalizing the fire department would require years of coordination and state involvement. Communities around us would need to agree to this, and a compromise of services may be required. Based on the square footage and response times expected within our community, it's likely that we would need a fire station location in our town. There was a mention that the ISO town rating may be affected by regionalization, but this would require further research. Questions about the 984 Mass Ave site included wanting to know if buildings would need to be removed and how would access onto the property be provided. Yes, 2 small buildings on the site would need to be demolished, and access onto the site would be through Sarah's Way. A question regarding home values as a result of having a new fire station in town was asked. The Fire Station Building Committee has not found research that supports or opposes a correlation between home values and new fire station facilities. A comment was also made reminding the Fire Station Building Committee and town to help meet the town's net zero emissions goal by 2050. Continuing the discussion of sustainability, we heard that the operational costs may be able to pay back the upfront costs of systems. The FSB also responded that we will do our best to build a net zero building. However, the opening of the apparatus bay doors on a regular basis reduces the efficiency of the building, making a net zero building difficult to achieve. Additionally, our OPM has noted that it is often difficult for smaller municipal buildings to achieve net zero. Finally, the Fire Station Building Committee also explained how contractor bidding works, as there was a comment made that contractors with sustainability building experience may be more expensive but preferred. The Fire Station Building Committee, with support from our OPM, will pre-qualify all contractors and sub-bidders. Then, once the bids are submitted by qualified entities, we will be required to take the lowest responsible bid. All right, thank you to Sarah for doing that. It's a lot of work to pull all that together.
Very good.
Yeah, it's very good. All right, and has anyone else, any other public come in?
Priya came in at 7:06.
Great, thank you. Okay, so I'm going to move us to new business. We have special town meeting on March 9th. I plan to take the presentation that was used for the forum and cut it into 2 presentations, one for each article. I don't know yet how much time I'm allotted, nor how much time I might want, but I hope to do that fairly soon so that I could check with the town moderator and be ready for that. Any other thoughts? Oh, well, I'll do that later. Any other thoughts or comments about town meeting and preparation? And
I have one, Mary.
yeah.
So in speaking with town council recently, I was reminded that, regardless of the outcome of town meeting votes, we will still go to town meeting. We are required by law but special election, excuse me. We're required by law once we've posted that special town meeting to go to it. We can't cancel it. So I asked him, what does that mean? Suppose that something fails at town meeting, but then it passes at a special election. Does that mean that we can then go to a town meeting later? And he said, yes. It does not matter the order, whether you go special election first or town meeting first. Some towns do their elections before town meeting.
Yeah,
so
Acton does.
The order doesn't matter.
Right.
So I just wanted to make the committee aware of that.
Thank you. Questions about that?
No, but the article specifically says the purchase of 984, right? So, and that's
Yeah.
what the ballot says, right? So that's presuming we would go back in, let's say, May, because I think the warrant's still open to be able to add maybe, unzip it and throw in this, but let's say May, but we're not sure we're going to have 984 to bring back to another town meeting, because we're not sure that the owner will hold on to it because they want to
Right.
sell it, clearly.
Right.
So that's kind of, so if we get a yes at the ballot, but we get a no at town meeting, then we're basically having to start over.
Does
One
the
of our-
ballot, the ballot vote for the debt exclusion says for purchase at 984. It doesn't say purchase land for.
I believe it's 984. I believe it's
It has the
specific.
address.
Yeah, okay.
So, so just to be clear, I don't want people to think that just because it failed at town meeting, we'll go to the ballot, it passes at the ballot, we can just bring it back in May. The reality is, we may not be able to bring it back in May. And we are going to have to start over with looking at the last two pieces of property, which is 1,300 at 5 million and 72 Stowe Road.
Right, with no money left
With
in
no
the
money
bank.
left. Well, we're actually to the point where we've already done all
Exactly.
the engineering on both those properties. So we would just
Exactly.
have to go back and say,
Yeah,
72 Stowe Road or $5 million more to be on Mass Ave. So it's just, people really need to understand
right.
that little, doesn't help us all that much, being able to come back, because we have to
Right.
come back with a different piece.
Right. Okay, thank you for noting
I
that.
have a question
Yeah.
in regards to preparation for the meeting. I know that Context did a very simplistic site plan at
Yes,
at 984. And I don't know if we really have no money left, but I think something visual would be very, very helpful for people to just wrap their heads around what we're trying to do. And with the years and the money, I would expect that this is an important vote, that we could pull something
Right.
like that together.
But do
Now,
you-
not necessarily
do
a
you-
rendering, a perspective,
Right,
but.
we have two documents that we've been using publicly. So one is kind of a high-level view that
Yeah.
shows where it is on Mass Ave, and the other is what Alan's holding, that shows how the building and parking sit
Yeah.
conceptually on the land.
But it has, I would hope that we can do something better than this.
In what way? Explain that.
Something that's more illustrative, that's not as technical. If we were to ask Context on how they would do a presentation drawing to explain this better, they would know.
Okay,
But this was done very quickly, and I know why we did it this way, and they took the plan from the previous site at Stowe Road, and it was a fit.
yeah,
But I think something that is more descriptive and illustrative, with shadows and cars and trucks, and just something that people can begin to understand the scale of it, would be helpful, so they have something to look at.
okay.
It hasn't been something that we've needed to make our decisions, but I think would be helpful for town folk to better understand what we're trying to get done.
Okay, I will
So
talk to them about that.
the only thing with that, I think we have to be careful, because we did a fit, so we know that the current building fits, right?
Want to
But
hold
that,
that up maybe so the
Yeah,
camera can see it?
it's gonna be
know where I
massaged
would
quite a
hold
bit
this,
from
but-
that.
Just so they know.
but, yeah, I mean,
That was purely a fit, yeah.
right, this is, but the whole point is, we really don't know what kind of building we're gonna design. We just know that if we had to, we could fit the building that we have this kind of very high-level
But it's
design,
not,
right?
and we
And-
haven't even studied whether or not a one-story building.
That's what I'm
makes sense
saying.
there.
So I would just be careful, knowing town meeting, we just want to make sure that people understand that this is a maybe. Like, this
Right.
could be what it looked like.
We can put illustrative purposes only, but it can be better than that. It can be more helpful than that, I think.
We actually used this today at a coffee. Mike answered a question for the people attending about access from Sarah's Road versus access from 111. But if this were bigger rather than the
We have
side,
it, we
don't-
have it bigger that we
You
used
think
it
that
for
solves it?
Winterfest. So we have that exact
On poster
drawing
size?
on a poster size. I have it at my house. So it's large, but, I mean, you'd have to have it on the screen at town meeting.
Right, exactly.
But you could put it in the back of the room.
Yes.
You know,
I
we could
do
kind of
that.
have some
Yeah, but
information out.
I guess maybe you're not understanding what I'm saying. It's
I
not,
I'm understanding.
Okay.
Yeah,
And-
I think we
And
need to be
will talk
careful
to
in doing
Context
that.
about
Yeah, I
that
mean, I
and
don't-
See what we can do.
I wonder if that could be shown on the screen after you do your PowerPoint. If you're answering questions, maybe that could be up on the screen.
Yep, potentially, yeah. Okay. Any other thoughts for town meeting? All right, I'm gonna move us to public outreach. I put review of forums in Winterfest, because I don't know if we've met since then, but I think the forums went pretty well. We had maybe 30 people across the morning and evening. Some new faces, so that's good. And people they had a lot of questions. I'd say the biggest concern is still the total cost of construction. But it seemed like people understand the choice of 984. We were at Winterfest, I had some, and Priya had some very in-depth conversations with people, and they understood our selection, and when we described it, we're in support of it, so, yeah. And then you guys had a coffee today.
This afternoon, we had a small group that Mike and Chief and Alan and I were at, and went through some things, talking about and answering questions, and I think it was helpful.
Good, good.
Winterfest went well, I thought.
Yeah.
We had, I mean, you were there, we had a lot of people come by.
There were a lot of people, some of them, like, they're there for the sledding and the community and the bonfire, which was fantastic. I do have a picture of you at it. But I think the people who did come up to the booth, we had really good conversations with, so,
I think,
yeah.
I can't get over the amount of people that Priya spoke to.
I know,
Every time
I
you went to
know.
talk to someone new, they're like, oh, she's already.
Exactly. They'd sit there and let you talk to them for 2 or 3 minutes, and I'd go to hand them the flyer, and they'd take it out of their pocket because she had already given it to them. I'm like, then you could have told me to stop talking.
We had to come up with a marking system for people that.
Priya's already talked to. They have to wear a bracelet. You can throw a bracelet on
Gotta
them.
put a fireman's hat on.
And then you had a few people stop by at the open house yesterday?
Yes, we had, I want to say somewhere, what did you say, 10 to 12? Yeah, around 10 to 12 people come in and take tours, and it was great. Some people said they hadn't been in the firehouse probably for close to 50 years, so it was, as much as they may have been there before, it was new to them, so a lot of great questions, a lot of great feedback. It was
Did anyone say, this is so beautiful, why are you trying to build a new?
surprisingly, no, and I was really, a little disappointed.
In fact, the group I was with, I don't know your firewoman's name that conducted us, a young woman.
Oh, that was firefighter Barrett, Wendy, yes.
And I was with people that were walking through the fire station that she was trying to lead between the trucks. And one of the women in the group said, well, I'll just walk around the front. And she got to the front of the vehicle, which of course is against the door, and she said, how do you people operate?
Yeah, yeah.
There you go.
That every day?
So that's successful, right? People realized. And you have another open house?
Yes, we're gonna have another one on the 28th, Saturday the 28th.
And then there's the special town meeting forum at the library on,
The
23rd,
thank
2
you.
to 8.
2 to 8.
At the library.
Drop-in session, so come for 15 minutes, 30 minutes.
Yep.
Ask your questions. Yeah. We should actually talk about that one. Is anyone able to go at 2?
I can go
Alan?
at 2. I kind of marked off my day to be
Okay.
there.
I have a meeting 2 to 3 that I'll do from home. I'll stay home that day. And then I'll get there like 3:15, so.
So,
Can we
Priya
divide
also
it
has
up?
her hand up.
That's a long time to be standing there especially.
Yeah.
I could go either early or late, but
Well, so Alan and Maria, if you two go early, how long do you think you'll stay?
I can stay for as long as you need me.
I can stay until
Yeah.
somebody wants to come.
Yeah, or not, like, I'm
So-
fine.
I could be there too as well with them and stay right until the select board meeting, because I have to go there.
Is there a
that
select
night.
board meeting that
Yes,
night?
there is.
So if you come maybe around 5, and then depending on the volume, you guys could leave and.
But I think last time, there was a lot of people that came between 5 and 6, maybe 6:15, 6:30, but then it like fell off quickly, because I think it went till
Yeah.
7, and I think, by the end, we were sort of cleaning up before 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
So, and then with respect to what we're gonna have on the tables.
Yes.
I think we've got the posters, we're gonna do that chart that shows that you did last time, but we're gonna change the numbers on it. For the dollar amounts, we had that table. Priya, jump in here and help me out if I don't get something. I don't know that we don't necessarily do a history, like last time we had a big history table. I think what we should do is the laptop with the video that was done showing the fire station. Did we have that last time?
We had that last time.
Yeah, I think we should do that again.
Okay.
I think people really don't understand how bad
think,
it is in the bays to try to,
So
maneuver.
would you, I found the laptop was a little bit tough because of the
Yeah.
screen size. Do you think maybe if we bring like a projector and maybe have some wall space that we could?
There's
Well, there is
a big
one.
TV there.
There's
We
a
could do that.
TV.
And we can connect to it with an HDMI
Okay,
cable.
we should do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
There is a screen, but the screen is like, it would be hard to do the
Should we
screen.
let Alec know, or someone at the library know we want the TV?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll let them know.
Okay.
I'll contact Dijon.
So we'll do the 2 posters we had at Winterfest,
Yeah,
right?
the chart meaning the tax impact?
I think the tax impact.
Yeah, the laptop with the video, do we want like anything, a flyer to take with, so we can only put the town meeting date, we can't put the
Yeah.
ballot date, is that correct?
That is correct. We
Yeah.
cannot put the ballot date on it.
Okay. We should have something though, like with some key points on it. Like the question about if we don't pass this,
I think that's really
you
key.
know, yeah.
A lot
so
of people have asked
We
that.
should probably pull some points together. We have, from the forum presentation, Mac created talking points. Those are kind of broad, but maybe we can, from that, make a few of them a little more specific.
Matt, can you send those out to,
I have.
Or do you have 'em?
I
I think I
have it,
can give you-
I'll send it out.
all right, so if you
It's
can
the
do
one
that,
with
that'd be
18
great.
18 points on it?
yeah, I think it has some, I think it has a lot of
Yeah, I want it
information.
electronically, because I want to be able to, if we're going to use it for the flyer, then it can't be 18 points.
Right.
You know what I mean? We have to
Right,
clean, so I would
exactly.
love it electronically to.
Okay, I'll send you the Word version.
Okay,
and-
thank you.
Yeah.
And then, so last time we had the history, and then last time we also had the different properties. Like, we are now
Right.
firmly on 984, right? So, very focused on that. We don't really have, other than the 2 posters.
I think the one thing we might want, and I can bring it when I come, but a copy or 2 of the forum slides, because that has all the sites we looked at, in case anybody says, well, what else did you look at, you know?
mean,
It's around 19 to 20 sites.
I mean, we could ask Alec to print that up and put it on a poster board. So that we can put it
I
on the
mean,
table.
We could look at that and see, like, one thing we did last time, I had 4 slides from another
had this in
forum,
case we
and
didn't
he
use it.
did like one poster board with a quarter for each.
Yeah.
So if we had 4 slides out of that
Okay.
maybe, so, okay. we'll
Just
look at that.
on the properties we've looked at.
Well, that's what I'm asking.
Okay.
Maybe it's not just the properties. Just look at the whole presentation and say, pick one to four slides.
Why we need the size that you had one of the slides, I think we definitely would
Right.
need that
Okay,
one.
so one slide on the size.
Yeah.
Then we want to do the properties we've looked at.
On the size, the properties.
Yeah. I honestly, Mary, it feels like that forum was 6 months ago. I don't really remember the rest of the slide. Oh, I do think.
I'll look at it.
I do think we should do, well, we'll have that poster we can bring. We need to show those pictures
Right.
that you did. And maybe that is just a poster with just those pictures on it.
Yeah.
Which is very similar to that, but I think, like, there's one with Lieutenant Gray trying to get through the trucks and the wiring. I mean, just
Right.
kind of, maybe we could do that,
Right.
so.
Okay.
Or
Okay.
we can look at that and maybe after the meeting and see if that one's more useful or something.
Okay.
I think that one has most of those pictures right on it.
Captain.
What did I
Don't,
say?
he watches every meeting.
What did I
Don't
say?
demote him, he's a captain.
What did I
He
say?
said lieutenant.
I'm sorry, because you know what? The police and fire are different,
Yes, it
right?
is.
The lieutenant is second in charge on the police, and the captain is, and it just, I'm sorry, I apologize, Captain Gray.
Thank you. 'Cause he'll watch this tomorrow and he'll,
All right,
yeah.
didn't mean to offend anyone. All
thank
right,
you.
so pictures,
And then, so anything else for that?
no, I don't think
Okay.
so. And the tax impact, we're gonna get that cleaned up based on, Tony's got the numbers from Hilltop.
Yeah, I
That
think,
you-
I think
you
Tony
guys-
was working on that.
He worked on it, he sent it, but then we clarified with him that when it would actually get voted on, and he said, oh, then it's gonna get phased, and he hasn't said anything new.
I think
So-
that was for the, yeah, he must be working on it, because the problem is, he's doing a ton of this, but does that have to go back to Hilltop? Because Hilltop, I think it needs to go back to them, because if they have it on the debt schedule for this year, but actually it's not gonna be at least until April of next year that we put a shovel in the ground. So it may be he needs different numbers, I don't know.
Okay.
I can
So
follow
I
up
will.
with him.
Do you wanna follow up with him, or should I?
I don't care. Have you been having conversations?
I just made
Other than
the-
those emails?
So that, we had a request from Cindy that I then pushed to you and him.
Yeah.
And he answered, but then I haven't, yeah. He
well-
answered and then he said, well, this may not be accurate. I'm like, well, I need accurate.
Well, then I
So-
think, you know what, I'll look at the email. I think he fixed it because I think it was sent out,
Oh,
but I don't know. I
Okay.
will look at it.
okay.
And we can talk to him. It's difficult because, frankly, it's a little bit above and beyond the FinCom, that we have to track that kind of stuff. So we're reliant on getting the information from Hilltop, putting it into the Excel. One of the things I think we need to start talking about, Mary, is what we did with the school. And I did not mention that on Tuesday night. I forgot, frankly. Is have a subcommittee of this group that is talking about the bonding and
I
the
think
expenses.
of this group and the FinCom.
Yes, this group and the FinCom.
Yes.
Just like we did for the
Exactly.
school, and that worked out really well.
Yeah.
And it was people a little bit above my pay grade with respect to bonding and costs and all of that.
Yeah.
And we ended up doing very well in the bonding with the school project.
And we can have whoever we want on there. So if the FinCom would like to have Gary Kushner, for example, who was key in the school
Right,
one.
right.
Because what ended up happening is they figured out, is it gonna be 30-year, 20-year, this, that, and the other thing, but also they started watching, and we went to bond the minute we passed the project. And I thought it was 2.5, Mac thinks it's even lower.
I thought it was even lower.
Maybe 2.25%.
Yeah.
And so watching the markets and getting in there at the right time, we actually, somebody calculated, the school finance person, that we saved $3 million
Yep.
by bonding that early.
Yep. So I think I don't know if we need a vote of this committee to sort of move forward with that, and then I can talk to Tony, or maybe you can talk to Tony as the chair, and see.
Okay.
I really do think we need to do that separately, because it can't just all fall to Tony. And it's a really big, we need, people are communicating with Hilltop and watching the markets and all of that. And that's what that group did, and it was very effective. So,
Okay, and so I will also talk with Kristen we can make a recommendation.
Yeah.
Because then I guess the I don't know the
yeah,
chain
would
of
it
command.
be, yeah, because we're a subcommittee of the
Right, of the select
FinCom.
board.
Do we then do a subcommittee? Because it would be maybe two members from this group and.
It might be the select board who chooses to
I don't
do the
know, I'm
subcommittee.
looking at Mike.
Yeah,
Probably.
yeah.
Okay.
I'll put it on our agenda for next time.
Okay,
And in the meantime, we can talk with Kristen
And Tony?
Tony.
okay.
I think it's a great idea. Okay.
So do we have coverage for the 23rd? I could also, we were talking about back to that.
I think it'd be good if everybody came for some of the time. It sounds like we definitely have beginning of the day and end of the day, so so Maria and Alan agree to be beginning of the day. I'm gonna come at 3:30, I'll stay till 8. If you come at 5, you come when you can.
Okay.
Same with you, Priya, come when you can.
But then Priya has.
I'll be there
select
as
board.
soon as I'm done with work, I'll be there.
Okay, yeah.
Chief and I will be there at the beginning. He's going to be staffing a table that's going to be advertising the RAVE, the new reverse 911, program.
That was a party.
Yeah.
I have
One
to
of
say,
those-
when I saw that, I was like, what are we, a party? And it took me a hot second to figure out that's what
Yeah.
we're calling your reverse
So-
911.
Not what I'm,
It's a
Motorola
system,
calls it.
it's a system,
And
right?
obviously, he's there to answer anything about this project as well. I'll be there, along with Alec, kind of floating around, answering any questions that come up, and Ian will be there as well.
Good.
Probably mostly focused on the sustainability stuff, but also directing people over with fire station questions, that sort of
Yep.
thing. But
Good.
the two of us and Priya will have to leave early to get back for the select board meeting.
Okay, very good. All right.
Mary, I have
Yes,
one other thing. I have flyers for the, for the special town meeting and the pre-town meeting information in there. So maybe we can pass it out between Alan and I,
Oh, before?
maybe, before. So maybe next weekend, is that better, or
So
Alan?
this
or this
week,
weekend?
Tuesday?
this weekend,
You don't have
I don't know how
Tuesday.
much of the community is families. It's school vacation week, right? So that's gonna affect who's at the transportation. That's maybe a third of the town, and maybe they don't all go away.
I don't think some of the younger families, they all have curbside pickup, and we don't do a particularly great job
Oh, yeah.
letting the younger families understand the dump, so
Okay.
much so.
So then it would be whatever works in both of your lives, Priya and Alan.
All right, Alan, we both can coordinate. I have flyers that are
Osprey.
printed out and ready to go,
Yeah.
so.
Priya, do we have flyers at the library?
I normally put some.
Not this one, I don't believe I've, sent this. The one before the Winterfest, I think that one we had it there, but I don't
Yeah,
think
I
this one
go
is there.
And I asked permission to put them.
And I have to believe that Alec has got the flyer that he did for the
Yeah.
pre-town meeting.
At the library.
I was there yesterday, I don't remember, there's a little table with all the flyers, so.
Are they open tomorrow? I could
No.
like swing by.
No, not
No, we're
tomorrow.
not
Did I
open
say I
on
was there
Saturday.
tomorrow?
Right?
I
What?
meant to say I was there yesterday. And I said,
Oh, yeah.
it's been a long week, so
Yeah.
as soon as we can wrap this up, that'd be great.
I get it, I get it. Okay.
Was that a motion?
I think that was a motion.
Oh, I don't want
All
to cut
right,
Mary off too
so
early.
our next topic, I put on the agenda discussion of value engineering and construction cost. And so in putting that on, I didn't actually mean that we would go through the list, because we have gone through it. People have said where they think they would be very open to value engineering and where they might not at all be open, and some things in between. Of course, we keep talking about you can't value engineer a building that isn't yet designed. So the reason I put it on is we are going to be asked at town meeting what's gonna be the cost to construct this building? And right now, we have a conceptual estimate of 32 million. We are being told clearly by some people that that's too high, and, you know, but they don't exactly tell us, well, what do they think could pass in town? And we want to balance that the building meets the needs of the fire department. And I personally am invested in it meeting the needs long-term. I don't want to do this every 10 years. You know, I want it to be done, and it would be more expensive that way too.
Every 10
So-
years, it takes us 10 years to
I
get to
know,
like
I know.
15 years. Like, we would be in trouble if we had to do it every 10 years.
And the chief has been working on information about the equipment that we have that we're gonna share at the next meeting. So we can talk about that so people have an understanding of why the bay is the size that it is and can it be tweaked, this kind of thing. I'm hoping we could come to some kind of agreement between tonight, our next meeting, of what we would say at town meeting. Like, are we gonna try to get it down to a certain number? Are we going to, how do we wanna handle this?
When I talk to people that say $30 million is too much, the question that they can't answer is, well, then what do you think it should be and why?
Right.
I don't know, but 30 million is too much.
Yeah.
But I don't think we have a lot of waste in there. We've already gone through that in our committee meetings about, we've essentially kind of value engineered in advance that this is never gonna fly. We need to make this smaller, or do we really need this number of bays? We've done that already.
But we haven't, so we did, but so we used this is
Yeah.
what we did last time, right? So we've said we're gonna keep the number of bays, right? But we also said there was other things we were gonna cut out. We haven't actually included that because some of it is roofing materials. Well, we need to know what the design's gonna be before we can decide on that.
Right.
You know, the plantings, again, that was when we were at 72 Stowe Road. So a lot of this was based on that. Now we're in an entirely different location.
Right.
So maybe we can cut out some of those plantings, because there is a natural buffer in front. So I think we've done some of it, and we've talked about it, but we haven't actually taken it out of the budget. I honestly am like, is it 29.9 that's gonna make people happy? Because they don't wanna see the $30 million number? Because we're not gonna get to 25 million. That's not realistic. And it doesn't matter if we take out a bay. And that's what I keep hearing from people.
One of the things that came up at today's coffee was the idea that a lot of what's gonna be designed in the station, the size of it, is to meet code. People still say, well, you have an 8,400 square foot building now, you're almost going 3 times.
Yeah,
Well, it's designed differently and it meets current code and it's the way it is.
right.
But until we show people that, and we have a drawing where they say, well, that's too big, and the architect's gonna say, that's the smallest you're allowed to make it.
Yeah.
It might look too big, but it's not, and here's why.
Yeah.
It's just, without an answer from people, all of the people who said, I can't support this, it's too expensive, have never said what's not too expensive.
That's what I mean.
Because anything we do, other than going to $15 million, which we should have done 10 years ago, but we didn't, because the same people were saying 10 years ago, this is too expensive.
Yeah.
Because 10 years ago, $15 million was a lot of money. Now we're at $30 million. We're just gonna, I think what we need to say is we're gonna design the building to code, and, we're gonna value engineer it down as much as we can.
Yeah.
And our hope is to get it down, 32 million, if we can get it down to 30 million, how much lower do you think we can get?
One thing that we can say that we've already done is we started with a program that was 24,000 square feet. And through conceptual design, we got it down to around 20,000 square feet.
Yeah.
And we're gonna continue to do that. But we can't guarantee that we're gonna get it to a certain number, because we just don't know. And the other thing we can't control is we can't control the construction market. It's very, very volatile. Tariffs have a huge impact on costs.
Yeah.
Because we're in this bidding process where we can't negotiate the cost,
Yes.
because, traditional construction products, you bring a contractor at the very beginning, and you value engineer with their subs through the whole design process, but we're not allowed to do that. So we have to complete our documents, dot every I, cross every T, and then put it out on the street. And so the value engineering that we're doing with an expert that's not necessarily the contractor or the contractors. They're getting information from the street, and it's very volatile.
Yeah.
And so I don't think we can peg a number. We would be shooting ourselves in the foot. But I think that we can say that during the process so far, we've done a pretty good job. We've taken it to heart. We'll continue to do that.
Right, right. And then the thing we do need to remind the community is they voted, sense of the meeting, to have geothermal in there, which adds about $1 million. And so, you know, in some ways, if you were looking to reduce costs, that could be a first place to cut so that you keep the program whole. I'd hate to see the facility get cut in a way that it doesn't meet the day-to-day needs of the staff who work there, but it's a nice warm building.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, Mac.
So I made a comment at this meeting several times that I would hope that we could get this cost under 30 million. So I made a few notes to kind of go toward that. So cutting from 32 to 30 million, we found that it would save a $1 million household taxpayer $62 a year. On a $600,000 house, it would save $37 a year if we go from 32 to 30 million. So that's one thing certainly to keep in mind. So although I'm a proponent of under 30 million, I'm also a proponent of doing the right thing to protect our neighbors in this town, to support the needs of the fire department, and also a proponent of getting the best price and the lowest cost for this project. So Mary mentioned this list of 44 items, I think, that came. Some of them came from John Markowitz, some came from Mark Barbadero, and the rest, the other half or more, came from our architect and OPM. They sat down and made this master list. So I think as we've talked about it, there are things on there that we would certainly consider and should consider, but doesn't mean that we have to do those kind of things. So my understanding is that list would add up to about $2.4 million. If we were to take all of that list, we would have a very different firehouse, and I don't think anybody on this committee would support that. I certainly wouldn't. So I agree that the value engineering needs to come at the next phase. I think we need to tell the community that we're going to look at that, and as Larry just said, that we'll fine-tune this as best we can, and our goal is to get it as inexpensive as possible, but also to meet the needs of the town and the fire department. So I know I learned when Mary and I were both on the Boardwalk Elementary School project several years ago, and we did a lot of value engineering, and that project came in at $3 million less than what the original conceptual design was. So I'm convinced that we certainly can do that. So when we open the bids, we'll know how we did. And if they come in lower or same or more, that's what we're going to bring to the town. So the town voters are going to have another opportunity to vote on this project. And at that point, they'll have a very specific firehouse to look at and understand what's in it and what has been taken out of it. And we would hope that they would support it. So our goal, I think, is to hope that the town will support this next phase of buying the property and for the design, money for the design phase, and then let us do our work over the next year.
I would just add one note that, like you said, when we open the bids, we'll know. but there's cost estimation throughout this process, so we'll get indications even earlier than that. And then if it's too high, we tweak, if it, you know, and we kind of keep going along the way, so.
And I think the way you can do it also is you can have, I think the term is add alternates.
Yeah.
Where there's a whole series of components that can be either this or this, or delete this, and we'll get numbers for all these various things, and we can make a number of decisions after the bids are open to manipulate either up or down what we're ultimately going to get.
Yeah,
I mean, those are usually smaller components, but they add up.
yeah, yeah. Priya, do you want to add anything?
No, I agree with what everyone said.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, I think that's really helpful. It's gonna help me be prepared fielding questions, but of course at town meeting, you all can answer some questions too. Chief, do you wanna say something?
I was just thinking about, Larry, like, that's a great point about the smaller components and going down. The one thing that I would ask though, because not having experience in it and where you do, is looking at those components and understanding what the potential is in the long run by reducing now versus what could the cost be in the future? Because obviously, if we reduce now, like, what could the long term, like, which components can you really get away with those on versus which ones do we want to avoid doing that because the cost in the long run would be greater? And that's something that I think that those that do have the expertise in this should be looking at and trying to determine which ones those are, so that we, as we go into it, we can figure that out.
Yeah, we could discuss those things during the process and how you break it down, but it could be something as simple as, instead of using traditional red brick, we're gonna use concrete block. Okay, so it's, you could compare those costs, so it would be a deduct of $150,000 if we go to block. And there's no, it's just an aesthetic issue.
Absolutely.
But you're right, it's not, they won't be fundamental design changes. There's really more specification, material, and system changes. So it's not delete the conference room. And what would that say? It's,
Right.
those
No,
aren't the
and
kinds of
I know, I
things.
agree with that.
But there can be some system description changes where you have geothermal and you don't, and that has to be described in detail.
But I was thinking along the lines of, like, when we're looking at, we go with this type, you know, we go with ABC heating system as opposed to XYZ heating system. What could the long-term effects be from choosing, you know, the lesser over the more expensive one? And I agree. I'm talking system as well. I'm not talking about the design or the rooms or any of the programming. I'm talking about the small components. And again, which small components could end up costing us more in the long run versus others? And that's what I think that we
Yeah, I
need
mean,
to
our
look at.
engineering team will do some of that analysis for us during the design process, and we'll probably then narrow it down during that process.
Right.
And maybe we're between this and this, and we want to carry an add alternate to either upgrade or reduce.
I mean, I think they did a good job on this list, the stuff that our team added, right? For instance, the flooring. Do we want to go with a lesser flooring material in the bay or the tougher one? And then they gave the pros and the cons. And that was, you know, so we were able to even just on this short list, kind of look at it and understand the long-term ramifications. And that is,
Right.
you know.
And that's definitely the guidance. they
Right, and then we got
continue to
that
provide us.
from Steve and Jeff, so
Right.
that was very helpful.
Yeah.
So,
Good. All right, thank you. This is a very helpful discussion. In our packet, we have minutes from January 22nd.
you got nothing?
I got nothing.
I'm so impressed, there's not one, all it says is draft in green.
That's because it
Wow.
was a short meeting.
Alan, could you read it again for sure?
Anyone else with any comments?
If Alan doesn't have a comment, I know I
I
don't
move
have a
to accept
comment.
I move to accept the minutes of January 22nd.
Second.
Okay, so Mac moved and Alan seconded. I'm going to take a roll call vote. Maria?
Neil and I.
Alan?
Aye.
Larry?
I'm going to abstain.
Okay. Mac?
Aye.
Priya? Oh,
Nope,
we
you're-
didn't
you're
hear
muted.
you. We saw you.
Sundaram, aye.
Thank you. And Brolin, aye. Okay, great. Then, out of cycle, we actually have a invoice approval. So, if Steve's there, maybe you can walk us through what we have.
Yes, Mary and the committee. So, good evening. We've got the invoice package for the month of January, which has 4 invoices in it. If you're looking at it in your packet, the Vertex invoice number 17 for $4,069.50. Context invoice 16 for $1,875. Kristen Patnott for 3 rounds of meeting minutes at $425.91. And then we did get a Places Associates invoice, who is the peer reviewer for the planning board, for a number of responses that they gave throughout the year last year for various permitting issues and questions that came up, which, I mean, they were short, half hour here, half hour there type of things, for $481. So that gives us a total amount for the month of $6,851.41. And of course, copies of the invoices are included. And then, getting down to our budget, because we weren't necessarily anticipating the Places invoice, so we took that out of the owner's project contingency. So we are left out of the original $500,000 appropriation, $15,992 that is in contingency.
Okay. Any questions, comments?
I would make a motion to approve the invoice of $6,851.41.
Second?
So Mac moved and Alan seconded, and I'm going to take a roll call vote. Maria?
Neil and I.
Alan?
Aye.
Larry?
Aye.
Mac?
Aye.
Priya?
Sundaram, aye.
And Brolin, aye. Great, thank you.
Thank you.
And I will note that we've asked Places in the future to submit more timely invoices, so that we're not surprised.
Who actually hires them, Mary?
What's that?
Who hires them?
So.
Who decides this is an
Yep.
issue for Places?
Yep, so in this case, I had asked them to come to a couple of meetings to give us some analysis on 984 Mass Ave. Alec, our Director of Land Use and Permitting, had asked them to take a look at some zoning issues, so it was a multitude of things that I have up on the big screen there. So, and as Steve mentioned, they're also the peer reviewer, so they could look at things for the planning board, but that wasn't how they were used in this case. They were asked by Alec and I to look at these pieces.
But because of the planning board role, they had familiarity with 984.
Yeah.
And I think it's important that, because we did have a citizen talk about the fact that we should be using the town engineers. And so at the time, I didn't realize we had already kind of brought them in on stuff. And so we are using the town engineers where appropriate at this stage.
Right.
And it will become more appropriate as we go through, but I just think it's important that we put that out there.
Yeah, and it was actually really helpful when we brought Susan in from Places to look at 984 Mass Ave, because she'd already done all the peer review from Larry's applications years ago on 984 Mass Ave, as well as Tree Masters applications for stuff they had under review. So she already knew that, and then went and did a site walk of the land with us, and was able to update us, and then come to one of the weekly meetings and give us a synopsis on areas that were problematic, areas that weren't, and give us a historical perspective. So it was really valuable.
Yeah. And we use her time efficiently, like, she's the first thing we talk about, and then we're like, thank you, you can go, and we keep talking.
I actually have a question about process going forward, right? So I'm going to be optimistic and say that this is going to pass in March, and then we're going to go out and we're going to start designing. And it's special town meeting, so we get to start next morning, we get to, well, actually, I'm sorry, a week later, the morning after the election, which I also think is going to be positive. Anyway, how does this process, and maybe this is something we add to a future agenda, the process by which we design and then we start going through site plan review, I mean, is that one of those things that we design for a year, we get the funds, and then we have to go through site plan review? I don't need to know tonight, but I do think it would be good for us to understand the process that normally takes place, and then also maybe, who knows, have a conversation with the planner, have him in, just to talk about what our process would be and what makes sense.
That may be something Steve could give us a little guidance on now, or
Yeah.
maybe at the next meeting.
Maybe at the
if
next
we'd
meeting,
like.
because it's not on the agenda.
Yeah, and Steve did provide me with like a 4-page list of what this next phase is. And I probably should have brought it to this meeting, and honestly, I lost track.
No, I think if we just put it on an
I already wrote
agenda.
myself a note to bring it to the next meeting, but I will work with Steve to make sure that, like, I don't know if site plan review is in there to think about that.
Just so we understand and make sure that we're running somehow, and I know you need a design before you can do site plan review, right? Because what is the planning board going to review if we don't actually have a design? But at the same time, we can't spend 8 months in site plan review once
Right.
we get approval for the money, because every year is $1.5 million in,
Right.
acceleration. So is there a way in the past that they have somehow, it's gone faster, or it's a parallel track? I don't know, because I just remember we had issues with the school as well.
Right.
There was the septic issues, and there was,
Right.
are we tying in for the sewer? And there was a lot of stuff that we ended up going back to Acton for on the school. So, I would just like to
Yeah.
understand the process.
And then it would be good, because then we could give planning board, conscom, whoever, a heads up that,
Yeah.
hey, we're expecting to share things with you here.
Yep.
We'd like to be in meetings here.
Right, right. So, okay, good. So we'll do that at the next meeting.
Okay. Okay. Okay, and speaking of next meeting, so we have a meeting on the 26th. And so I do want to talk about the information the chief has shared with me about the equipment. We'll go through Steve's design bid build list, what that entails with thinking about these key points with site plan and conscom type things. I want to know, do we want to have a meeting? Sometimes we post a meeting right before on the night of the special town meeting. I guess I'm gonna say we should probably
Just post it, because the
and
worst
then-
case, we have to cancel it.
Exactly. We'll
But,
just don't-
and we have to get a room, because
Right.
we're at Blanchard, right? So presumably, the select board will
Yes.
post a meeting. I know FinCom's gonna post a meeting.
As long as we don't decide to switch the order of anything.
Yeah, we're not switching the order of anything. I will never do that in my future work with the town. That was terrible. And then we would have a meeting on March 12th, because that's our normal scheduled meeting. But maybe we want to wait and see the outcome of both the election and the town meeting. What's that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it may be then, I can't find my phone, but we go, well, the 12th, it would be plus 14, March 26th. Is that what we should plan on?
Well, I mean, the election's on the 17th. Then there's either the 26th or we move it up to the 19th. I just don't know, how that works with everyone's schedule. Otherwise, we just have to go to the 26th. And I guess we wait until after the election, and again, all of this passes. What does that next meeting look like?
Yeah, so we'll talk about that next week.
So the question is, does it need to be sooner or later? Does a
Right.
week make a difference?
Right. Okay, so we'll figure that out and let you know.
Okay.
We can decide that at our next meeting. So we think not March 12th, and then the question is it 3/19 or 3/24?
Right, does that
26?
1 week make that big of a difference one way or the
Right.
other?
Okay. All right, any other updates folks want to share? Okay.
I have a
Yes,
question.
please.
And I didn't see it in the meeting notes from last week, and we had talked about it at the previous meeting, and that was a definitive understanding of access to Sarah's Way. And whether or not that went any further, or do we have enough comfort that we know we have full control of access and design of Sarah's Way?
So the attorneys are working on, maintenance agreements and all of that stuff. They're very confident that we won't have any legal issues with it. It's just a matter of managing that.
It's already in, my understanding is it's already granted to when there was a purchase made, there was access given that's in perpetuity with the land. It sounds like it's messy because it's written in 3 different places in different ways. And
Yeah.
so the lawyers are gonna clean that up, but we feel pretty confident that the access exists. Yeah.
Okay.
And I think that's in an email, Larry. I think we got an email to that effect. After, yeah, I get so many, I'm pretty sure that you sent that out in an email that was,
Yeah.
but I think we had gotten a lot that week. It was like
Exactly.
yet another one and yet, so you may have, and then with this Google thing, they all get compressed, but I think it is in an email with details from the attorney.
I can find that and send it out again because it's been a while.
Yeah.
Okay, that'd be good. All right, if there's nothing else, I'll move us to public input at the end of the meeting. So if there's anyone online who has input, please raise your virtual hand.
Cindy
Okay.
Markowitz.
Can you unmute her?
I did.
Okay, Cindy?
Yeah, thank you. I've got 2 questions. The first you already touched on, and that was my request to get a copy or a version of the model, the financial calculation model. It sounds like the FinCom is working on that. I was wondering if you could give me an idea of when it might be available, and then also, once it is available, I'm assuming you'd like to have this put out to the public prior to March 9th, because I think you're going to get a lot of questions about, what the overall cost might be and what the tax impact would be, and I think it would be useful to have that available as a shareable file for anyone who wants to use it to do some sensitivity analysis on what the construction cost would be on any specific homeowner's valuation, so people could really play with the model and see exactly, what the range of impacts would be. So my question is that's going to be available prior to March 9th town meeting?
I have to say, I'm nervous about it being something that people can, because you could change all the assumptions and everything, and then people can put out false information. I wonder how hard it would be. Last time, was it the treasurer who put something on the website where?
It was the assessor that did it, I think in May. I think the assessor put something on the website that was the only things you could change was the value of your house.
Right.
And then by changing the value of the house, because everyone's house is different, it's not the average, you could get specific to your cost.
Right.
I totally agree with you, Mary. That document is got a lot in it, including, if I'm not mistaken, that ties out to other debt charts and stuff. I believe last time it was sent out as a PDF. I don't know what Tony's intention is this time, but I know that there was concern last time about sending out a model that says it's from FinCom and then have it be manipulated into something different.
Yeah.
So we've got a set of numbers that we're working with that come from our bond agency, and that's going to go into whatever model Tony's got that he's working on. I would imagine that if it needs to be interactive, it can be interactive I don't remember when Kelly did it, but I'm pretty sure it was for the May town meeting.
It was.
It was May
right?
town
And it
meeting.
was on the website, and you could go in, and those are the only two factors, because the other factors don't change. So,
Right.
you
And the
know,
other thing
we're gonna put a set of numbers out based on this factor,
Right.
and that's not gonna change, because we're getting that information, based on our assumptions on costs, and we're getting the information based on the debt service from our bond agent. So that's how we're getting those numbers.
Right,
Um,
and it's still only on a conceptual estimate.
Right.
The assessor's website last time also had a link so you could easily get the assessed value of your home.
Yep.
So that you could put in the right thing. So that's really helpful. So I don't know if we can do that. I don't know if we have the same assessor still.
We don't.
We don't. So,
I'll work on that.
okay, thank you. Cindy, you had a second question?
Yeah, I just want to comment on that first. I mean, I think in the interest of full transparency, I understand what you're saying. You don't want the FinCom's name associated with something that, I think you could caveat the model to say, these are the assumptions we're using, and any, other assumptions are not, representative of what the FinCom is using at this date. But, I think in the interest of full transparency, you should give folks an opportunity to manipulate the bond rate and manipulate, construction costs up and down, just so they have an idea of what the impacts are going to be. Because when you put out a fixed PDF, again, I just think you're doing folks a disservice, making those numbers available. There's nothing out there that's can't be tied back to an actual number, like escalation costs and things like that. I think people should know what the full range of assumptions are. So that's my request, and I hope you can make that available. I've asked for it for myself, and I would hope you would make it available publicly prior to March 9th. So
Again, we will, I will talk to Tony. I know he's working on this. And to say we're not already transparent, we've done everything we can, not only on this committee, on the finance committee, and on the select board, to be as transparent as possible. People may not like what they're hearing through the transparency on the pricing, but the reality is we're not couching the numbers. It is, we're giving you actually the higher numbers. So transparency is there. So I don't want the assumption to be we're not being transparent. But to have a financial model put out by the town committee, and then to have somebody be able to manipulate those numbers to something that is not tied to the type of reality we're dealing with. We're dealing with a bond company, we're dealing with engineers, we have the numbers that we're gonna put forward. I will talk to Tony. I don't believe it's gonna be a workable document in that you can manipulate. You can take our assumptions, which you will have, all 4 assumptions you asked for will be part of it, but that'll be laid out. You can take those assumptions, and if somebody else wants to put it into an Excel spreadsheet, I think that's fine. But my vote would be to put it out just like we did last time in a PDF.
Okay, and your second question,
Yeah.
comment?
And that's certainly your option. Second question, I think, is something that John Markowitz asked several meetings ago. When you make this presentation at town meeting, this March 9th, will you be including a full explanation of what the quote-unquote program is? And I think, we need to understand, is it the space needs study? Is it the space needs study plus some other factors? But, I think it would be very helpful to see exactly what you're defining the program to include, and all those variables that I know have been discussed over the last many months. But, I think folks need to understand what the program is, because I think there might be some confusion between the space needs study and the program. I think there are differences there. So anything you can do to expand on that, at town
Yes.
meeting and would be very helpful.
We actually took John's input and used that for the forums that we did recently. And so we will use the information we had there to share with town meeting as well.
That'd be great. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. With that, I would,
Got
oh, please.
Just a public service announcement,
Oh,
if I could?
absolutely.
Okay, so I know I've brought it up at other meetings, so recently the town has gone live with our Motorola Rave system, which is our reverse 911 contacting program. Again, it's not affiliated with the station building committee, right, but it keeps coming up. What it is a means of staying informed in a time of an emergency within the community. So I would just like to urge anyone who's watching now or anyone who watches later on to please go on the town's website and follow the links to register for the Motorola Rave and just opt in. And there's other options that you can take, but just at a minimum, you'll be opted in for the emergency notifications in the event that something's happening in town and we need to get information out to the residents so they can make informed decisions as to what's best for them and their family at the time. So I'd just like to let everyone know it's on the town's website and urge everyone to register. Currently, I think we have 153 people registered, which is well below where we'd like to be. So love to see that number go up. Thank you.
I will note, I signed up, and on the non-emergency side, there were, I didn't count, maybe 15 different kinds of information you could get, and you opt in individually for each one, and it can be your phone, your email, text, and you can say yes to one of those, none of those, like 2 of those, 3 of those. It's your choice. You have a ton of opportunity to tailor this to what you want. So it's a great way. It's one of the things we struggle with in a small town is how to share information. And so if there's something you care about, sign up for it and you can get that information.
Thank you, Mary.
Yeah, thank you. With that, I would take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those who, now I'm going to take a roll call vote. Maria?
Neil and I.
Alan?
Aye.
Larry?
Aye.
Mac?
Aye.
Priya?
Sundaram, aye.
And Brolin, aye, and it's 8:13. So, thank you. Great evening.
Priya, we meet tomorrow?
Probably, yeah, maybe quickly.
Okay, quickly, 3 o'clock, quickly. But Sarah didn't send out a thing, so can you send out
And invite.
do you have a Zoom link that we could use?
These are people who wanted to join the